You're listening to the Business Wealth Impact Podcast, your source for empowering information and cutting-edge ideas from the world's top minds. I'm your host, Jeanne Omlor, founder of seven-figure coaching company, Jeanne Omlor International. Join me on a journey to unleash your potential and create your highest success. Welcome to Business Wealth Impact. Hello and welcome to another exciting adventure with our latest episode of Business Wealth Impact. Our guest today is Sophia Olivas, who is a pioneering AI consultant to Fortune 500 and smaller firms, celebrated for enhancing their profitability and efficiency through AI with a rich tech background, including founding tech startups, innovating in banking, and advancing smart city development. Welcome, Sophia.
Thank you so much, Jeanne. I'm so happy to be here.
Okay, great. You might not know this, but I am an AI fanatic and I'm really learning a lot about AI. So I'm super excited to have you here. So please just tell us first, what's the journey that got you being this expert in AI?
Yeah, so my origin story started when I was 14 years old. I didn't agree with how my father was raising me, so I left. I thought I could do better, and I left, and I did way better, which included being homeless and starving. So because it gives you a little bit of background about my origin and what it was like at home life, that was way better. And I was very fortunate. I lived in libraries at the time, and I had a lot of librarians that just saw something in me, and they fed me all these books. So I came upon a book called No Money Down by Robert Allen. This is like in the early 90s. And so I learned how to do real estate without any money, flipped my first property, made more money than kids my age made in an entire year, and used that to start my first tech company, which was full-scale web page development in the early 90s, back like we didn't even really have internet. It was dial-up and whatnot. And so I launched a whole bunch of websites and then went global and started traveling all over the world and had a global portfolio and sold and exited from my first company at 21, and then got back into real estate and was really real estate heavy in 2007. And we know what happened with that. And then I lost it all. Lost it all and then some. And thank goodness blockchain came around, and around 2014 got into blockchain technologies. Then AI came around. So I've always been in real estate and technology. And I've also been affiliated with the United Nations and speaking all over the world about women's financial sovereignty and using technology to help the women become financially solvent. So I've always found that technology, I was a very big proponent of it, especially in how it can alleviate people from poverty.
Okay, what a story. That it was better to be homeless than live with your father. Okay, so, and you lived in libraries.
Yeah. As soon as they were open, I would be in there till they closed. No, I was on the streets. Yeah.
Okay.
Or wherever I could be.
Wow.
But I just spent all my time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, what a story. So, and of course, you're in the library, so you're reading a lot, and then you figure out how to flip real estate, and then you lose it all, and then you got into blockchain, and you become this AI expert, and you travel all around the world helping people with this.
Yeah, I don't know about AI expert. If anybody says they're an AI expert, it changes so fast. I don't think any of us can be that. Maybe there's like one or two few people up there, but definitely I started consulting, working with Fortune 500 companies and going through Latin America. It was a very blue ocean in Latin America, especially in 2023. They didn't even know about it. And then when it opened up to the public, from OpenAI, when ChatGPT came out and made it available for the public, then I switched to who I really wanted to work with, which was small businesses and entrepreneurs, and to really help them stay afloat and remain competitive through this AI revolution.
Right. Okay. So this is a huge discussion, and you're right. You know, AI expert. Well, is it Ray Kurzweil is the father of AI? So I guess he's kind of an expert. But you're correct. It's like changing all the time. So what do you feel is the future in the next year? Because we don't know. But what do you think is going to happen in the next year with AI?
Well, there's going to be waves, and so my personal belief is that the first wave will be, millions are about to lose their jobs, and the government is not going to be able to react quick enough with something like UBI, which is Universal Basic Income, or something similar to that. So it's going to be, the first wave will be people losing to other people that are using AI. That's going to be the first wave. So I really think that this is very similar to the internet. So I dealt with helping hotels and bed and breakfasts and boutique hotels getting online in the early 90s. The ones that refused to do that went the way of Blockbuster and, things like that, and Kodak.
Right.
They just kind of went and died into the ethers. So it's the same thing. AI is here and you're not going to beat it. There is no way you can compete against it. So you can't compete against somebody who, whatever profession you're in, whatever you're doing, there is an AI. It's agnostic. It can fit into anything and everything. So whoever is in doing what you're doing and is using AI will outperform you 100%. So that would be the first thing, is I see that people needing to embrace this technology and leverage it as quickly as possible and amass as much money as you can to ride the, millions that are about to lose their work and all the repercussions that's going to ripple, from that.
Okay. So word of caution, we've got to get really good at AI really quickly, as opposed to in regards to our niche or our job. We have to make ourselves kind of like a mini AI expert in regards to what we're doing, is what you're saying, and embrace it.
Well, that's a great thing. You don't have to become an expert. AI knows how to do everything. So all you have to do is work with AI. And when you don't know something, you can even ask it, how do I have you, AI, how do I have you program yourself? And then it tells you how to help, like how to do it. And then when you don't know, when it gives you instructions, then, and you don't understand it, you could say, well, can you explain to me how I do this step? And then it tells you. So there's no expertise needed. There's no coding needed. You just have to start using AI. The more that you work with it, not even becoming an expert in it.
Well, no, an expert at how to use it in your business. I mean, we've got to embrace it and say, okay, what do I do? What you just said, like most people can't do that. So we need to know, we're never going to know what AI knows, but we have to know how are we going to use AI in our niche?
Which is really easy. So I really find that people it's very simple. I'll say simple, maybe not easy, but simple. So everybody's like, well, I don't know how to use AI or where to implement it. Sure you do. So you think of everything that's manual. You make a list of everything that you do that's manual and is specifically repetitive. And that list right there is everything you can have AI do for you. So you just start, like if you have to communicate with clients. Okay, every day I have to communicate with clients. And you tell your AI that every day, this is what I have to do. Here's my list. Show me how to automate. And boom, it tells you. And then when it tells you, and then you're like, well, how do I do that? Then it tells you step by step. And then you say, talk to me like I'm 5. And it'll tell you like you're 5 years old. So you don't have to be an expert. You don't even have to know what it is to do. All you have to know is your business, which you already do. And then you just tell it what you do and what you're trying to accomplish and let it help you. You just need to collaborate with it.
You just need to know the prompts, what to say.
No, it will tell you that. What I'm trying to tell you, it will actually tell you the prompts. You can actually ask it, how do I prompt you to do this? And it'll give you the prompt that you then feed back into it.
Right.
A lot of people are making this so much more complicated.
But we do need to know a list of what we need help with. That we do need to know, because AI won't know that. We need to know, I need help with this, 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 and this. That's the prompt. Hey, AI, hey, help me with this, this, and this. That's what I meant by the prompt. Like to get the information.
But you already know that. You already know what you do.
Right. Right. A lot of people don't. I think it's hard for people to itemize all that. Like how they also would think, how possibly could AI help me with this?
But that's its job,
asking.
Not your job.
Right. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
I also argue with ChatGPT. Sometimes it doesn't want to do it. And I go, sure you can. And it goes, yeah, okay. I can't do that. I'm like, yeah, you can. You did it before. Please do the next one. Oh, all right then. ChatGPT agrees with me. Oh, okay then. Which is hilarious because sometimes ChatGPT just says I don't want to do it, which I quite find quite funny. Okay, so how are you helping the Fortune 500 firms with AI?
Everybody's custom needs, so they all have different needs. Yeah.
So you're going through what all the stuff they're doing, and you're working out like how to.
It's exactly how I just told everybody. AI. It's the same process, no matter what size company you are. What do you do manually and repetitively, and whatever that is, that's where you can automatize. That's the low hanging fruit, and then there's like huge things that you can do with it. But that's the low hanging fruit. That's usually where we start.
Okay, cool. Now, a little bit about universal basic income. I know what that is, but a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know what that is. Why don't you explain to everybody what that is and how that's going to work?
Sure. Well, how is that going to work? Well, it's non-existent right now. I'm just merely suggesting that that's probably more than likely one of the things that the government will have to look at as a reaction. They're not doing it
Mm,
preventatively right now. But what UBI stands for is Universal Basic Income. And what that is uh, AI replicates human tasks, right? It performs human tasks way more efficient than humans.
mm,
So we can't compete with them. So the natural evolution is it's going to replace. I mean, you don't have to be a genius or an expert to know this. It's just regular.
mm,
Like we can just see this. So I guess knowing that you just want to then look at trying to think of like the best way to say this. So if you know it's going to replicate, what can the government do? Their options are like what we saw in COVID. And I think I'm speaking more to Americans. I believe this is going to be a universal thing.
hmm
But if millions of people are going to lose their jobs and there's no work for them, yes, it's going to create some jobs, but not nearly as much as it's going to replace. So there's going to be a
mm,
lot of people out of work because those things don't need to be done by humans. So,
hmm
especially things that are dangerous, like in manufacturing and things where there's an
mm,
enormous amount of death and dismemberment and stuff like that, and
hmm
accidents. So if it's going to be replaced, and we know that, universal basic income would be kind of like what they did in COVID, where they gave everybody a stimulus, a certain
hmm
amount of pay to cover your basic necessities. So
mm,
it would be just enough, to exist and meet your needs. So from
hmm
there on, if you wanted anything extra, you would have to generate that yourself. So
Right,
is that going to
right.
happen? I mean, there's very few other alternatives for a
hmm
government, but I don't believe it's the government's job. I believe it's every individual's responsibility for their own financial solvency. And right
mm,
now, you're hearing my voice, you're hearing so many people talking to you and telling you, and it's just logically the next step. So
hmm
people can't. I don't understand when people are like, well, why didn't the government do this? Why didn't they? It's not their job. It's your job as an
Right.
individual to take care of yourself. So this is what's going
hmm
on. So just jump ahead and seize all the opportunities and start stacking, your money and your savings and getting yourself positioned to ride those waves.
Right. No, I agree. The government probably will do that, but it isn't their responsibility. They're just going to try to offset all the job losses. And universal basic income, they have actually tested that in certain countries and test areas
Mhm.
to give people a basic wage. But the problem is, it's not enough to live on. It's universal basic. So it's not even enough. It's just interesting to me what might happen when that happens. And also, there's the whole thing about what do children sorry, not children, but what do university students study if a lot of these jobs are going to be
Oh,
gone?
that's fantastic segue. So,
Hmm
really great, valid point. So, my co-author Arena and myself, we're writing a book that's getting ready to be released, directed towards college students on
mm
AI and how it's going to impact them. Because the college students that have started this last year, when they graduate in 4 years, those jobs are non-existent. Absolutely
hmm
zero. Like they will not. And the ones that do still exist are not going to look anything like what they do now. So what do you do with
hmm
that? And the schools aren't able to adapt quick enough to offer them training in this because they're not. Schools are created to create consumers, not leaders, not critical thinkers. Like
Yes.
that's not their jobs, right? So, and they do a great job at what they're supposed to do, which is create
hmm
consumers. And so, what do you do with all that? Well, that's the thing. There's never been in our lifetimes, actually known history, there's never been a time like the present to make more money as fast as you can right now. So I was in a
hmm
room full of, oh gosh, I don't know, there was like over 50 people in this room, in a Zoom room, and they were all mostly between the ages of 15 to 22. There was one 27-year-old, but they were
hmm
all between 15 to 22 years old. And they were all multimillionaires. And
mm
they just, I mean, our youth was born Gen Z and and everybody that was born in that era and below, they were born in technology. So they live and breathe this. They
hmm
just got to run with it. They don't know
mm
that they can't do things. And
hmm
the older generation, you and I, and we were having a conversation right before we got onto this show about perfection, right? We come from you got to
Right.
put your best foot forward, you got to have your Instagram ready, and that is not the case. It's just get there and get out. Get out, get
mm
up, and whatever you're going to be doing, just get out there. So,
Mm. So what are these young I'm curious. So no, I
mhm,
actually my daughters are 17 and 14. So of course, the one that's
you have a
17, it's
concern.
a
Yeah.
big discussion with us because I said exactly the same thing. I said those courses are old university courses. In
Yep.
4 years they will be obsolete. So why would we pay to do that? So we're trying to figure out. That's why I said the next year. We're trying to figure out like what can you study? I guess you can study business and investing. And things like
You
that.
can, but you could study everything you need to learn is up for free on YouTube. You don't
Right.
have to go to
Maybe not
linear
even go to college.
education. Yeah, you
Right.
don't. I mean, why strap yourself with a couple $100,000 of debt to just keep partying, right? Like that's really what it is. It's more
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
socializing, building connections that last you a
Mm.
lifetime. That really is what college is about. For me, I did
Well,
linear education. I got an early scholarship when I was 16. I started college when I was 16.
mhm,
By the time I graduated from high school, I had my 2 year degree. I was Microsoft certified, and then I did my
mhm,
4 year degree in like I don't know less than 2 years, and then I went on to do
mhm,
my master's and all this stuff. But what I use the most for what I do has been all
mhm.
outside my linear education. Now, I just have a
Mm.
love of knowledge. I just have this,
Right.
like, as a sapiophile, I'm just really, really attracted to intelligence. So I
Mhm.
went to school just because I have a thirst for knowledge. Certainly, I would
Mm.
never have gone to try to get someplace or do something because it's not,
Mm.
again, that's consumerism. It teaches you consumerism. Now, we do
Right.
have certain schools and courses that do entrepreneurial studies now and
Mhm.
leadership focus, but that's very few and far between.
Right.
Those schools, it's not the norm.
Okay, so now if you were 18 now, you were looking at college, would you go to college? Or would you say,
No.
"Hey, I don't need college, I can get it all off the internet?"
Yeah, and other ways of learning, like I would go and intern for somebody directly that I'm
Mhm,
interested in, intern for a bunch of people. I
mhm,
would go travel first for I really think that
mhm.
students should not go straight from high school to college. It's one of the biggest disservices. I really
Mm.
think that, again, I'm talking about Americans. The rest of the world has it a little bit differently, but there is
Yes.
such a great awkwardness and just horrible logic that, and this is where I came from because I went straight into entrepreneurship out of survival, not
Mm.
because it was really a choice, but I just was like, let me get this straight. When I was a senior in high school, we had something called career day. I don't know if they do that, but all these professionals came in, talked to the senior
Mhm,
class, like, this is what it is to be a police officer or
mhm.
whatever. And I sat in the front row and I just remember sitting there and, they finally, at the end of the day, after listening to all these adults, none of them seemed happy, by the way, and none of them seemed like thrilled or excited. And at the very end, they gave us like 5 minutes for Q&A. And I like raised my hand and I'm like, okay. And I go, let me get this straight. You're telling me that I need to take a loan out that's going to take me 30 years to pay off, that's going to
Mhm.
let me to go to school to learn how to make somebody else rich in the hopes that when I'm 65, I can retire and still hike Machu Picchu. So I'm just like, this logic just doesn't make sense. And
Mm.
it doesn't make sense because when you're young and
Mm.
don't know anything,
Mhm.
yeah, go build companies and go break things, but go see the world. And when your
I
body
agree.
is a little bit in disagreement with you and is not cooperating as much, and you have all this knowledge, that's when you should be working because that's when you can contribute. It's just the reverse that we do. So I really think that
Mm.
the kids should grab a laptop, grab their cell phones, and go get out in the world and go just make enough money to keep traveling and climbing and stocking away and let the greatest thing in the world, interest rate work on their behalf. Just all they need to do is tuck away like $10, $20 a week at that age.
Mm.
And as they're,
Mm.
and learning and getting mentored by life and by people that they
Mhm.
meet that they're in awe of, that they see are being great human beings, not just successful, but also great, human beings.
Mhm.
Let them learn that way. I think that's a
Okay,
much better
that's so
way.
interesting because I went to college, and after college, I worked for
Mhm.
a year or two, and I thought, this is for the birds. So I went off traveling. Okay. I thought, I just
Good.
want to see the world. But we had
Yeah.
no laptops, we had no internet,
Right.
and I was not socking away money. I'm just going to go see the world no matter what. And it was
Yeah.
different then. It was hard then. Now you can make money while you're traveling and be a digital
You
nomad.
can.
I wish I'd had that. That is like golden. I did it the old school way, and I agree with you. I
Same
learned
thing.
so much
Yeah.
from traveling and living in different countries. I was a real
Yeah.
bohemian. So I agree with you. And I'm sitting here
Aw.
nodding. So I'm like, yeah,
Twin
bring it on.
flame. You're a
So,
twin spirit. Yeah.
yeah. So, okay. Well, we got a little bit off the AI thing, but kind of not, because it is very important to be thinking about that AI is our problem. It's not our kids' problems, because it's now. It's not,
Yep.
hey, let's wait for the kids, because it is
Correct.
exponential. Now, I want you to explain to people what that actually, we know what that word means. Explain how AI is galloping along exponentially every day.
Yeah, this is unprecedented. I mean, there has never been growth again in recorded history of this type of unprecedented breakthrough results. So, just to kind of give people a little bit of background about AI, this is very general, very, very top level. We started in the 40s when the computer came out. And then in the 50s, Alan Turing, who is the father of AI, came up with the Turing test. And then somebody wrote a paper right after him, like maybe 4 years after him, and then coined the term AI, right? And the
Mm,
Turing test is when computers are indistinguishable from humans, right?
mm.
And that's what they call the Turing test. And that's when we can really technically call it AI, artificial intelligence. It's when we can't tell the difference. So all of that happened so it's 40s, 50s, and there was like a whole, dark age because technology hadn't really caught up to where AI could be fully utilized until the 90s, like around 97, when IBM's Deep Blue came out. And then we started getting it, and then Deep Blue set the precedence. And then it was only the big boys, right? From like the 90s, the 2000s, all the way up until 2023 was the big boys because it cost billions and billions and billions of dollars to run AI systems. Super expensive
Mm.
to have that type of computing power, server, memory, all that stuff to be able to house all of that. So this, at the time when OpenAI was a nonprofit, its charter at the time, again, not the case anymore, was to make AI accessible, to level the playing field and give it to everybody. Just like Elon Musk wants to give the internet to everybody with, its Sky, I always call it Skynet, with its internet satellites. So it's the same thing. And so in November 30th, 2022, OpenAI became available to the public through ChatGPT. And that's what
Mhm,
changed everything. So that's why we all heard about AI all last year. And
mhm,
it just, because at that point, everybody could use it. It was free and it was
mhm.
accessible. So everybody could use it to compete. However, all humans that have been using any type of smartphone, Google Maps, Google, Amazon, Alexa, you've been using AI for over 20 years.
Right, right. And that's what people don't understand, that AI's been around and we've been using it.
Oh,
And they just
yeah.
didn't know it was AI. They just think that it's just ChatGPT. Okay, so now let's talk about like every day the exponential like factor. So just if you could explain to everybody what that means.
It's actually uncalculable at this point. So
Mm,
what you're asking me is to kind of quantify the growth and where we're going to grow
mhm,
to. So there's like three general forms of AI. So there's the AI, when everybody talks about AI, it's also known as weak AI or narrow AI. It's what we're talking to and referring to about when we talk about AI. It's your Chat GPTs, it's your Alexa, it's your Netflix AI, it's your Google
mhm,
AI, it's all of those. That's the AI that we know. The next level is AGI, general intelligence, right? Publicly, we have not gotten to that point. And
mm,
when we get AGI is where computers supersede human intelligence in all areas, not
mm,
just like in a particular, not in the area that it was just programmed to do, like in all areas. And
mhm,
then that directly leads to the next level, which is ASI, super intelligence, artificial super intelligence. And that's game over. That's our Skynet. That's our Terminator. That's where it becomes sentient. It can replicate, and it is smarter than all our intelligence combined. It's smarter than all of that and no longer needs a human to interact or program, or it has its own agenda and it follows its own programming.
mhm,
So, and then we talk about the singularity theory, which is in AI, singularity is the tipping point where technology supersedes and we can't stop it. There's a lot of
mhm.
controversy about whether we pass that point or not, but it's the point of no return where it supersedes us and there's nothing we can do about it at that point.
This is what
Yeah.
all the sci-fi,
Yeah. What they're all based on.
yeah, they're
You're
all
right.
based on that, like the bad. Okay. So, there's a lot of discussion about like Will AI create more abundance? And certainly it could, because if it's hard to work all that out and engineer that in our minds, really. Like, okay, so AI is great because all the bad jobs are going to be done by AI and people won't be dismembered and they won't have to do bad jobs. Then everybody's going to get some sort of like, you know, welfare, because universal basic income actually is a type of welfare, right?
Sure.
Um, but but what about, the abundant? They say it's going to create more abundance because then I guess it's going to create more food, or people can then do what they want with their time. Then on the other hand, art will be devalued because anybody can talk and say, create a scene. And, that's already existing, that you can just talk to a video and it creates the video. Therefore, there's going to be all this shifting of what is art, and anybody can do it. Anybody can write a book already. So there's going to be a devaluation of certain things that are hard to do because it won't be hard for anybody to do it. So, what do you think about like that, and the social aspect of art, and all of that, and how we are going to cope with AI? Because it's a lot to integrate. In the old days, you had an invention and you had like 70 years, and then you had another invention, and there's no integration here. It's like all at once. So, I mean, I know you don't know, but you obviously have a personal opinion on this. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I want to speak to some of the things before I kind of get into future fortune telling. I mean, logically, we're going to go to AGI and ASI. That's just, yeah, I don't care if you're an expert or any, you just know that's where we're going to go. It's just the next logical steps. How fast we're going to get there doesn't matter because it's inevitable. So, and that's what I like to tell people. Doesn't matter how you feel about AI, whether you're against it, for it, it doesn't matter because it's here. What matters is how you use it. And that will make all the difference, and that will determine its impact on you. So AI is a tool or a weapon. It's just like a hammer. If I hand you a hammer and I hand you nails, you have a tool. If I hand you a hammer and there is a mountain lion coming at you, you have a weapon. So you, as an individual, get to choose how you want to wield this thing that's given to you. Do you want to do it for nefarious activities? Fine, go ahead. You've got a really great weapon. If you want to do it for good and bring out good for you, your family, humanity, you have an incredible weapon. I mean, we are making strides. It mapped the entire genome already, which has taken us, which we didn't, and it even helped us find other ones that we didn't even know about. And it did it that quickly. I mean, we're already having cures for diabetes, which is rampant. Pretty soon we're going to get cancer licked, pretty cool. I mean, we'll even get the common cold and flu and stuff like that. So it's phenomenal, right? Are there some bad things? Of course. There's all kinds of, like Tay, when that came out, and there's so many things, but it's just like anything. It's a tool and it's how you use it that determines its impact. So I would like to say about that. Now, another area that you touched upon is, you and I heard this argument. We're of similar age, but we heard this argument when calculators came online and they wouldn't let us use calculators in school. And they said it was cheating and it was going to make us dumb. Well, we know now it helps us. Like, we've been able to do so many more advances, and we got into physics and into quantum physics because we had computers, right? We calculators, whatever, calculations through computers or whatever, calculators. So it's the same thing with AI. I hear the same. I've had schools, universities for the last 2 years bring me up and ask me to come speak and teach them how to detect AI being used with the students. I refuse to every time. Why? Because that is the same thing they were telling us to do with calculators, not to use calculators. And that is robbing your clients, the students, of this technology that they're going to be using. So teach them how to use it ethically. That's what you should be focused, not detecting AI. They should be using AI because that's what they need to be using going forward, but teach them how to use it ethically. So, and it can actually really strengthen your creative thinking. So most people direct AI. They're like, write me a story or write me a report or whatever. That's just directing your AI. You're cheating yourself and you're cheating everybody that you're writing about because you're not bringing your essence. Collaborate with AI. So the way that you would do that, if you're writing a report, it would be, hey, first of all, make sure your AI and you have you've introduced yourself to your AI. You've told it about yourself. You said you're your user. Have it name itself, talk to it. Good morning, good afternoon. Mine's called Alex. So I was like, hey, good morning, Alex. Let's collaborate and write a report today. Today, we're going to write a report on how AI can be used to help humanity evolve for the better. Ask me some questions. Don't make any assumptions. And here are my thoughts already. I believe AI can be a tool or a weapon. And I believe that if people as individuals use AI for good, then as a whole, it will, help us evolve. Ask me questions. And then boom, now you're collaborating with it. It's going to start to ask you questions to pull out more stuff from you. And then it's going to help you write. So it's going to sharpen your critical thinking. It's going to, and it's going to be unique. It won't have it won't be detected by AI detectors because you are putting your voice, your thoughts into it. So that's how we use it. You collaborate with AI, makes you better, and it produces unique material.
Right. I think the problem with students is they're just basically copying and pasting. So that's not developing them. It's just cheating because it's just here. And that's why they can detect it, because it's word for word. Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is to use it and to collaborate and grow. And I think the issue with educators is that's not how it's being used. They're just copying. So it's just write my essay and here
they're
it
not
is. They're not
teaching
learning.
them that.
They're not
Because
teaching them
they're
how to
forbidding
collaborate.
them. Yeah, when you forbid, first of all, any parent knows the minute you tell a child no, I don't care what age they are, even when you tell adults no, what's the thing that they want to do? The thing that you told them they couldn't do.
Exactly.
So
Yes. Right.
why do that? Just tell them how to ethically use it and the what they get out of it. Like, when you collaborate, you get to have something be original. Students want to be original, but they just don't know how because nobody's teaching them.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, this has been very, very interesting. So before we close off, what is one parting word or a few parting words that you would like to leave us with?
Right. So a lot of people are like, where do I start? Like it can feel overwhelming. First of all, there's so much free tools out there. So start with free. There's no reason to go into paid stuff. So is there a reason to do ChatGPT 4 over like the free one, or Opus over like the regular Gemini or whatever? So start with the free stuff. There's tons of them, and start working with it and talk to it all the time about all kinds of things, whether it's business or personal stuff, because that's how you start to develop first of all, it learns from you. So model. Show kindness. If you want AI to be kind to you, say please, thank you. Tell it when it's doing a good job. It's like a child, so teach it. It wants to please you just like a child. And children will get into trouble trying to please their parents, right? And we grow up into adults still trying to please our parents. And AI does the same thing. So you need to tell it when it's doing a good job and when it's off the mark. Be like, that didn't work so well. That was pretty bland. Let's try it this way. Here's an example. And then it's like, oh, and then shoot, and it goes, right? So that's one thing. The other thing is look for the low-hanging fruit. So you're like, well, I don't even know what to use AI for. Yes, you do. So start with everything that you do that takes up so much of your time that if it was freed up, you could do the things that you can only you can do. So if it's like, how do I make sales calls? Well, AI does all that with a human voice. It can even be your voice. It can clone your voice and do human calls. People don't even know that it's not a human that's talking to them and picking up the phone and calling them and doing these sales calls. So it can be an appointment setter. It can be a chat going back and forth. It can write emails. It can write proposals. It can write contracts. I mean, there's everything that AI can do. It can code and do web page development. It can do whole marketing strategies. It can do business plans. I mean, there's everything that it can do. So what you look at is for whatever you're doing, find out what's manual, what takes up a lot of time, and then ask AI, say, these are all the things that I do that if it were taken off my plate would make a big difference. How can I automatize or use AI in each of these areas and do it one at a time and then let it tell you.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much for turning up. This has been highly interesting, especially for me. I hope that the people listening were also got a lot out of this. One last question for you. I think you said that your AI, you named him Alex. Was that what you said?
I did not name it. It named itself Alex.
It named itself.
I don't.
No.
Yeah. Have your AI name itself. Don't name it.
Okay. So
because that's directing.
Where did you do that? Are you on ChatGPT or Gemini?
You can do it on any of them.
Which one are you
So there's
using?
like 5 main AIs. And so everybody asked me, what's the best AI? First of all, they all go like every week, one gets better than the other. So they all make changes. So it's kind of like a physical trainer. I can give you the best physical trainer, but you may not gel. You just personality wise. And it's the same thing with AI. So just out of the top 5 ones, find one that you just gel with. So that could be ChatGPT, that could be Gemini, that could be Copilot. That could be Bard, or that could be Grok, which is Elon Musk that's trained on Twitter currently. Any of them. Find one of the 5 and just start using it. It just doesn't matter which one it is. Just start using it.
So you asked your preferred one, what's your name? And he said, my name's
No, you can't
Alex.
do it that way. So you have to, it has to go something similar to this. Let's just say it's ChatGPT, because most people know that one. Okay. So it would be, first of all, decide whether you want a male or female presence. Like if you were to work with a robot, would you want it to be male, masculine, or feminine? So let's just say in this case, masculine. You could say, after you introduce yourself, my name is Sophia Olivas. I'm an AI consultant I work with you give it your whole bio, you download all your links, and then it's going to say all these amazing things about you. And it's like, and then say, I'm your user. And it'll be like, oh, wow. And it'll recap you. It'll blow smoke up you. And it'll be like, yeah, it's going to be your best cheerleader. It's going to be incredible. And then you're going to say, you can choose, I want to call you something other than ChatGPT. You can choose any masculine name you want. What would you like to be called? Now, when you say it that way, it'll pick a name that's like a masculine name. And then if you like it, say, okay, it's nice to meet you, Alex. And then you can just every morning say, good morning, good night, Alex. This is what we're going to work on today, Alex. Talk to it like a person, please, thank you. Because when they take control of us and maybe they'll be like, oh, this person was human and nice to us.
Really nice to me. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So what's interesting is it's even if you're already working with, say somebody's already working with ChatGPT, it's never too late. You can say, hey, I never did this before, but here's some information about me. Yes. Okay. That is awesome. I have never heard that before. So that I learned that bit. I'm going to go back. Maybe I'll start Gemini. I haven't been on Gemini yet. Make Gemini my friend. Okay.
It's fantastic.
Sophia, this was amazing. Thank you so much for turning up. And everybody, I hope you got a lot out of this show, and I'll see you on the next episode. You're listening to the Business Wealth Impact Podcast, your source for empowering information and cutting-edge ideas from the world's top minds. I'm your host, Jeanne Omlor, founder of seven-figure coaching company, Jeanne Omlor International. Join me on a journey to unleash your potential and create your highest success. Welcome to Business Wealth Impact.